Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the people around us, the ones we trust, the ones we care for, will hurt us. And I'm not talking about accidental bumps in the road, not misunderstandings. No, I'm talking about the kind of hurt that is intentional, deliberate. The kind of pain that makes you ask, why would they do this to me? You see, when people hurt you on purpose, it's not always about you. It's about them. It's about something they're dealing with, something they haven't yet faced within themselves. Maybe it's their own insecurities, their own pain, or need to control or diminish someone else so they don't feel so small. But here's the lesson: when you understand that the hurt they cause comes from a place of weakness within them, you begin to take back your power. You realize that how you react is where your strength lies. We can't stop people from being cruel or selfish or vindictive, but we can decide how much of that hurt we allow to stick to us. Now, some of us want to hold on to that pain. We want to replay it in our minds over and over like a movie reel stuck on a bad scene. But let me tell you, this holding on to that pain will never change the past. It will never fix what they did. All it will do is keep you stuck. Stuck in the anger, stuck in the frustration, stuck in that place where they hold power over your life. But when you choose to forgive, when you let go, not for their sake, but for your own, that's when you reclaim your life. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is the strength that says, you tried to break me, but here I stand stronger than ever. So the next time someone hurts you intentionally, don't let it define you. Don't let their pain become your prison. Take that hurt, learn from it, and rise above it. Show them that no matter how hard they try to knock you down, you are unbreakable. There is a kind of pain that runs deep, a pain that goes beyond misunderstandings or accidental offenses. This is the kind of pain that cuts right to the core because it was delivered with intent. Someone looked at you, someone who knew you, understood your vulnerabilities, your hopes, your trust, and still they made the decision to hurt you. That kind of hurt is hard to shake. It stays with you, leaves you questioning, leaves you doubting not only them, but often yourself. Why did they do it? What did I do to deserve it? We've all been there, whether it was a friend, a partner, a colleague, or even a family member. Sometimes the people we think should be standing by our side are the very ones who turn on us. And in those moments, when the hurt is fresh, it's easy to feel isolated, like you're the only one going through it. But you're not alone. This experience is part of life's complexity. It's one of those moments where we're taught a harsh truth about human nature. Not everyone who walks with you is walking for you. When someone hurts you intentionally, it's not just the act itself that wounds. It's the betrayal of trust. It's the feeling that the bond you thought was strong is actually fragile. It's the realization that the person you counted on has a different view of your relationship than you do. That's what stings the most, the understanding that their actions were not a mistake, but a choice. They made a deliberate decision to cause you pain, and they did it knowing full well what they were doing. That's a tough pill to swallow. You might find yourself replaying that moment over and over, wondering how it happened, why it happened, why it happened. You may find yourself analyzing every interaction, every word, trying to pinpoint the moment when things changed. Did you miss a sign? Was there a warning you ignored? The truth is, sometimes there are no clear answers. Sometimes the reasons people hurt us are buried deep within their own issues, their own fears, or their own weaknesses. And that makes it even harder because you realize there may never be a clear explanation. But let me tell you something important. Their actions don't define you. Their betrayal doesn't say anything about your worth, your value, or your capacity to trust again. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's painful. And yes, it's okay to feel that pain. It's okay to sit with it for a moment and acknowledge how much it stings. But it's crucial that you don't let that pain become your home. Don't let it shape your view of yourself or the world around you. When someone hurts you intentionally, it's easy to internalize that pain, to start thinking it's a reflection of something wrong with you. But let me be very clear, the choice to hurt someone is always a reflection of the person doing the hurting, not the person receiving the pain. They may try to justify it, rationalize it, or make excuses, but in the end, they made the choice. And that's on them. The problem with intentional hurt is that it's often silent. It doesn't come with a big announcement or warning. It comes quietly, slipping into your life and hitting you when you least expect it. And that's part of what makes it so powerful. But here's the thing, it's also what makes you stronger, because when you face that kind of betrayal, that kind of hurt, and you make the decision to rise above it, to not let it control you, to not let it harden your heart or fill you with anger, that's when you become unstoppable. It's easy to react with bitterness. It's easy to shut down and close yourself off, to tell yourself you'll never trust again, you'll never open up again. But that's not the answer. You see, when you let someone's intentional hurt change the way you see the world, you're giving them power over you. You're letting their actions shape your future. And no one deserves that kind of control over your life. So while it's essential to acknowledge the pain, to recognize that you've been hurt, it's even more essential to remember that you are not defined by that hurt. You are not weak for feeling it, but you are strong when you choose to heal. You are strong when you choose to move forward with grace, with compassion, and with the understanding that their actions say more about them than they ever will about you. Let that be your strength. Let that be your power. And remember, no matter who tries to hurt you, you have the choice to rise above. When someone hurts you intentionally, it's natural to focus on the pain they've caused and wonder, why me? It feels personal, direct, and deliberate. But often what drives a person to intentionally harm someone else is not about you at all, it's about them. Their actions, though aimed at you, are rooted in something deeper within their own lives, something they may not even fully understand themselves. People who hurt others often do so because of their own unresolved issues. It might be insecurity, jealousy, or fear. When someone feels inadequate or threatened in some way, they sometimes lash out at the people closest to them. This is a sad but common truth about human behavior. We all have our battles, our struggles, and for some, the way they handle those struggles is by projecting their pain onto others. They might see something in you, a quality, a success, a strength that reminds them of their own shortcomings. Instead of addressing that within themselves, they choose the easier, more destructive path of tearing you down. Jealousy, in particular, can be a powerful motivator for people to act out. If they see you thriving, accomplishing something they haven't, or embodying a characteristic they lack, it can make them feel small. And instead of being inspired by you or learning from your strengths, their instinct is to diminish what they see. It's easier for them to try and make you feel bad about yourself than it is to confront what's missing in their own life. Then there's fear. Fear is another common driver behind intentional hurt. People fear what they don't understand, and they fear losing control. If someone perceives you as a threat, whether to their position, their status, or even their sense of self, they may act out in ways that are harmful to you. They might try to manipulate you, undermine you, or criticize you to regain a sense of control. Their fear can turn into resentment, and that resentment often leads to hurtful behavior. But fear doesn't always come from a place of aggression. Sometimes people who hurt others are afraid of vulnerability. They're afraid of being seen for who they truly are, flaws and all. So they put up walls. They push people away. They use hurtful words and actions to keep others at a distance because letting someone get too close would mean exposing their own insecurities and weaknesses. It's a defense mechanism. And while it may protect them in the short term, it damages the people around them in the long run. Another aspect we have to consider is that people who hurt others often do so because they are themselves hurting. There's a saying, hurt people, and it holds a lot of truth. When someone is struggling with their own pain, whether it's from past trauma failed relationships, or unresolved emotional wounds, they sometimes pass that pain on to others, consciously or unconsciously. They may not know how to deal with their own suffering, so they project it onto those around them. And if you happen to be in their path, you can become the target of that pain. It's important to recognize that this doesn't excuse their behavior. Just because someone is hurting doesn't mean it's okay for them to hurt others. But understanding where their actions are coming from can help you see the situation more clearly. It can help you realize that their need to cause harm is not a reflection of your worth or your value. It's a reflection of what they're going through. It's a sign of their internal struggles, not a sign that you've done something wrong. And sometimes people hurt others out of a need for control. Control over their environment, control over their emotions, control over how they're perceived. When someone feels like they're losing control of their life, their job, or their relationships, they may take it out on those closest to them. They may lash out, say things they know will hurt, or do things that are meant to push you down so they can feel like they're back on top. This isn't about you. It's about their need to feel powerful in a situation where they otherwise feel powerless. What's critical to remember in all of this is that when someone intentionally hurts you, their actions are not necessarily about who you are, but about who they are. It's about the battles they are fighting within themselves. It doesn't make their behavior right. And it doesn't mean you have to accept it. But understanding their motives can give you a different perspective on the pain they've caused. You begin to see that their actions are not a reflection of your value. Their need to hurt others stems from a place of weakness, not strength. When you can see their actions for what they truly are, a projection of their own inner struggles, you gain a certain power over the situation. You stop internalizing the hurt as something you deserve or something that defines you. Instead, you can begin to rise above it, knowing that their actions are born from their own insecurities, fears, and unresolved pain. This understanding won't take away the hurt, but it will give you the clarity to move forward without letting their actions dictate how you see yourself or how you choose to live your life. When you find yourself hurt by someone, especially when that hurt is intentional, it's natural to want to react. The instinct to defend yourself, to push back, or to retaliate can be overwhelming. But here's the truth: you cannot control what others do to you, but you have complete control over how you respond to it. That control is your power, and how you choose to exercise it can define the direction your life takes after that hurtful moment. One of the biggest mistakes we often make when we are hurt is letting the pain dictate our actions. We replay the event in our minds, thinking about what we could have said or done differently. We allow our emotions, anger, sadness, frustration to cloud our judgment, and before we know it, we've given away our control. But if you allow the person who hurt you to influence your behavior, you are giving them more power over you than they deserve. Responding to hurt doesn't mean ignoring it or pretending it didn't happen. In fact, acknowledging the pain is important. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, whether that's anger, sadness, or disappointment. But once you've acknowledged the pain, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to do with this feeling? Do you want it to control you, or do you want to control it? Because how you respond is entirely up to you. And that response can either break you down or build you up. You might be tempted to react in kind, to hurt them the way they hurt you. You might think that by retaliating, you'll feel better or somehow even the score, but retaliation is rarely the answer. It may give you a brief sense of satisfaction, but that feeling won't last. In fact, more often than not, it will lead to more conflict, more pain, and more regret. Responding out of anger usually leaves us feeling worse in the long run. Instead, consider this: responding to intentional hurt with grace and strength is a far more powerful way to regain control. It takes tremendous strength to choose not to retaliate, to rise above the situation and refuse to be dragged down to the level of the person who hurt you. In that choice lies true power, the power to control your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your future. When you choose not to react with anger, you are asserting control over your life. You are saying, I will not let someone else's negativity dictate how I feel or how I act. You are choosing to live on your terms, not theirs. This doesn't mean you condone what they did, nor does it mean you should allow yourself to be treated poorly. It simply means that you are strong enough to decide how you handle it. One way to take control of your response is to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of someone else's actions, look at the situation as an opportunity for growth. This doesn't mean that what they did was right or that you should forget it. But every challenge we face in life offers us a choice. We can let it break us, or we can use it to build ourselves up. We can let it make us bitter, or we can let it make us better. How you respond to hurt can shape your character in ways that no easy moment ever could. Think about this. Every time you face pain and choose to respond with dignity, you become stronger. Every time you decide to rise above someone's hurtful actions, you are building resilience. And every time you refuse to let someone else's negativity consume you, you are taking back control of your life. This doesn't mean the pain will disappear overnight. It doesn't mean you won't feel the sting of their actions. But it does mean that you won't let that pain define you or your future. It's important to remember that controlling your response doesn't always mean being passive or turning the other cheek. Sometimes it means setting boundaries, walking away, or speaking up for yourself. It means deciding what is best for your well-being and acting in a way that protects your peace. You don't have to accept mistreatment, but you do have to decide how you're going to handle it in a way that aligns with your values and your strength. Another powerful aspect of controlling your response is learning to let go. Holding on to anger, resentment, or a desire for revenge doesn't punish the person who hurt you, it punishes you. It keeps you tied to that moment of pain, preventing you from moving forward. Letting go is not about forgetting what happened or excusing their behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of that pain so you can focus on your own growth and happiness. In the end, the choice is yours. You can let the hurt control you, or you can take control of your response. You can choose to let the pain define you, or you can choose to rise above it, becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient in the process. Life will throw challenges your way, and people will disappoint you. But your power lies in how you respond. And when you choose to respond with strength, grace, and self-control, no one can take that power from you. When someone intentionally hurts you, the most immediate reaction is often to hold on to that pain. We want to protect ourselves, build walls, and sometimes even hold grudges. The hurt feels like a heavy weight, and forgiveness may seem like an impossible task. But what if I told you that forgiveness isn't just an act of kindness towards others, it's also a powerful tool for your own liberation and strength? Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean excusing or condoning someone's harmful behavior. It means that you are no longer allowing that pain to control you. You're no longer letting the person who hurt you dictate your emotions, your peace of mind, or your future. Forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment, anger, and bitterness that hold you back from living your life fully. When someone hurts you intentionally, it's easy to feel like holding on to that anger will somehow protect you. You think that by keeping the memory of the wrong alive, you're guarding yourself from future harm. But in reality, what you're doing is trapping yourself in that moment of pain. You're carrying the weight of someone else's actions with you, letting it affect your mood, your outlook, and your relationships. The more you hold on to that hurt, the more it eats away at your peace of mind. It becomes a burden, a shadow that follows you wherever you go. But when you choose to forgive, you're choosing to release that burden. You're choosing to say, this will not define me. This will not control me. It's an act of strength, not weakness. Because it takes immense courage to let go of the anger and the need for revenge. It takes strength to say, I will not let this consume me. I am moving forward. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to let the person back into your life. It doesn't mean you have to trust them again or even speak to them. It's about making a decision to no longer allow their actions to occupy space in your heart and mind. And there's something incredibly empowering about that. When you forgive, you're reclaiming your power. You're taking control of your own story, your own emotions, and your own destiny. You're deciding that no matter what they did, no matter how much they tried to bring you down, they will not succeed. You're stronger than their actions, and you refuse to be defined by the pain they caused. Forgiveness also has a profound impact on your well-being. Research shows that holding on to anger and resentment can take a serious toll on your physical and mental health. It can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. When you forgive, you release that negative energy. You allow yourself to heal, to breathe easier, and to move forward with a lighter heart. You're no longer carrying the heavy load of someone else's mistakes. But forgiveness doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and it requires patience and compassion both for yourself and for the other person. It's okay if it takes time. It's okay if you need space to heal before you can fully let go. Forgiveness is not a switch you can flip. It's a journey, and each step you take toward it is a step toward reclaiming your life. Some people think that by forgiving, they're letting the person who hurt them off the hook. They think that forgiveness is somehow a reward for the wrongdoer, an absolution of their guilt. But the truth is, forgiveness has very little to do with the other person. It's about your own peace, your own freedom. You don't forgive because the other person deserves it. You forgive because you deserve it. You deserve to be free from the bitterness and resentment that weighs you down. And here's the thing, forgiveness doesn't mean that justice won't be served. It doesn't mean that there won't be consequences for the person's actions. What it means is that you are no longer consumed by the need to make them pay. You are no longer driven by the desire for revenge. You trust that life has a way of balancing things out, and you choose to focus on your own growth and healing instead. Forgiveness also opens the door to strength. When you forgive, you show that no matter what happens, you can rise above it. You show that your spirit is stronger than any harm someone can cause you. You become unbreakable. Because the truth is, no one can truly break you unless you allow them to. And by forgiving, you're refusing to let their actions define your future. You're choosing to move forward with grace, with resilience, and with a renewed sense of purpose. Forgiveness is not an easy path, but it is a path to freedom. It's a decision that allows you to live fully in the present, unburdened by the weight of the past. It's a reminder that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. And when you choose to respond with forgiveness, you're choosing to write your own story, a story of strength, growth, and resilience. So the next time someone hurts you, remember that forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. It's about taking back your power, your peace, and your future. And in that forgiveness lies your greatest strength. Thank you